All right, Alexander, let's do an update on what's going on with Ghislaine Maxwell and her trial. And I believe she has, I believe the trial is set for July, if I'm not mistaken, in Manhattan, a Manhattan federal court. And she's trying to get bail. I mean, she's trying to, just get out of jail for the time being. And the last I read about Ghislaine was that she's willing to give up her passports, her UK and her French passport, in order to get out of bail. I mean, she has a ton of money too. I mean, just a ton of money, and she's willing to surrender a lot of that money. I've read reports that she wants that her lawyers have said they'll keep $500,000 of spending money for her plus lawyer fees. She'll surrender her UK or French passport so that there's no worries that she may flee to France where they have no extradition. All kinds of stuff to get her out of jail. But we've had a treasure trove of information that's come out, and we got the trial in July. So what's the latest on Ghislaine Maxwell?
Well, in legal terms, it's absolute trench warfare. I mean, her lawyers have been incredibly aggressive, and they've made application after application, and they've resisted every single move the prosecution has made, and it's been one battle after another. As you absolutely rightly say, she's been pushing for bail. She's been made repeated applications for bail. She's made allegations that she should be granted bail because one of the allegations was because the jury that passed the indictment was actually too white. There were too many. There weren't enough people. There wasn't a big enough demographic cross section, and that calls into question the legitimacy of the indictment against her. Bear in mind, that she's white herself. So I mean, this is a very odd application to make. She's offered $28 million in surety. This is the same person who, if you remember, a few months ago was basically saying that she was, down to her last million or something like that. I mean, it turns out that she's actually worth at least $28 million, probably more. Anyway, she's putting all that money up now to get bail. She's managed to get persuaded the court to let her have a laptop, so she's working. Has access to a laptop. She's made one allegation after another about her conditions of detention, which she says justifies granting her bail. And of course, and this is for me the far and away the most interesting part of it all, there was a major battle over her 2016 deposition. The evidence she gave in court in April 2016 in a court case between herself and Virginia Giuffre. Now, I've ploughed through it. It's about 400 words long. And there were a lot of people who were expecting that it would be full of bombshells and things. There wasn't really in that sense, in the sense that Maxwell, throughout the hearing, stonewalled almost continuously. But what comes across to me, and I think would come across very badly to a jury, is how extremely evasive she was. So her account was that she was just Epstein's housekeeper. She wasn't aware that anything was going on, that she was managing his various properties, hiring his pilots and his staff. But of course, she had no idea, no idea at all that he was involved in any of the things that he was accused of, and of course pleaded guilty to. She had no notion or understanding or awareness of any of this. And I mean, it actually even starts ridiculously when she's asked, did you were you involved in the hiring of underage females? And she fires back and says, what's a female? And tries to sort of get into a discussion about what's a female and what's not a female. It's the sort of thing that intensely prejudices a jury against someone when they hear them talking in that kind of way. And the picture that comes across of Ghislaine in this deposition is, I have to say, a very unattractive one. By the way, her lawyer was jumping up and down all the time, making objections to almost every single question that was put to her. So again, that doesn't come across well to a jury. So she's resisting at every turn. She's trying to get bail relentlessly. As you rightly say, she's even offered to give up her French and British passports. She's offering large amounts of money which she claimed at one point that she didn't have, but now suddenly, miraculously, it's appeared. She's complaining about the jury which indicted her. She says the indictment is flawed. She's trying to rake up the agreement that Epstein made with the prosecution, not to be, the one that was made all that time ago by Acosta, which resulted in Epstein being let off, and she says that she's covered by that in some way. She denies that she knew who, all the things that were going on. She's stonewalling and at the same time doing it in a most aggressive way. I have to say, I think this is an unwise approach. I would have thought that her interests were far better served, as I have said previously, to seek a deal with the prosecution by frankly admitting some of the charges. Now, I know that may be difficult for her to do at multiple levels, but it seems to me that the evidence that is against her is, I'm going to use an understated word, extremely strong. And her conduct in the April 2016 trial, as shown by her deposition, it was such that I would have no confidence at all if I was a lawyer seeking to defend her, that she would not go down to a conviction and face a massive sentence if she went before the court in July and defended her in that sort of way. I think a far better tactic would be to, admit some of the charges, try and do a deal, and at the same time give whatever evidence she can to help the prosecution clear up whatever other steps that need to be made against any of the other people, important and powerful people, who it seems were implicated in this thing. And we've had hints that she's apparently made to other people that there were films made of some of the events that took place, and that she knows where those films can be found. So I think she'd be far better advised to cooperate fully and work with the prosecution rather than do what she's doing at the moment, which is resist and work against them. Because if she continues along this course, I think she's going to end up in prison for a very long time.
Right. So she's stonewalling, and it looks like her defense is now relying on the clown world we live in to get her off the hook. Some sort of woke SJW type of defense, which in today's world, who the hell knows? But we also have news here. I'm reading news that she's putting up much of the money from an estate that belongs to her and her still unidentified husband, and I'm reading that from the Evening Standard. So we still don't really know who this mysterious husband is for sure. And this money, $22.5 million to be precise, would be held by overseen by an asset manager. And doesn't it strike you strange that she's trying to figure out all these ways to get out of jail and somehow be released? I mean, even though if she gives her French passport, to me it sounds like she may have a plan to escape, and that's why they're so desperate to get her out on bail. You know, it has nothing to do with France. Maybe there's some other escape route that she has planned out. And my second question is, maybe she can't make a deal because she doesn't want to meet the same fate as Jeffrey did. You know, maybe she has a lot of people to give up, but she knows if she gives those people up, she's toast. I don't know.
I have to say, and I'm going to be straightforward here. I'm going to say this very, very plainly and very simply. She comes across to me as terrified. When somebody stonewalls in this kind of way, and behaves in this kind of fashion, when they deny everything in the way that they're doing, that suggests to me somebody who's very frightened. She's very frightened of staying in prison. She's very frightened of implicating other people. She wants to get out of prison as soon as she possibly can, because she clearly is afraid to be there, which is interesting. And she's clearly afraid of what would happen if she disclosed information that all the indications are that she has, which might, as probably she sees it, put her in an even worse and more dangerous position than the one in which she is in now. I'm being careful what I say, but I think people who are watching us will understand what I mean. I cannot explain this in any other way because, frankly, her behaviour seems to me extremely counterproductive. Let's just talk about the money. I mean, at least $20 million of that money that we've been hearing about, of that estate, it seems is her own money. It's money that she brought into this marriage with this unknown person. I mean, there have been speculations about who he is, but let's put those aside. $20 million of that is her money. Now, she was saying at one point that she didn't actually have any money. It seems she transferred it or created structures to try and distance herself from this $20 million. Now she's grudgingly admitted that it is in fact her money after all. That, by the way, begs many questions. Where did she get that money from? I mean, how did she become rich in that way? Did she inherit it from her father? Is it her family money? Or did she earn it in some way? And did she earn it while she was working for Maxwell? Sorry, not for Maxwell, for Epstein. Because, of course, what we learn, and this is very clear from her 2016 deposition, was that Epstein was employing her. She was being employed to manage his various properties, to recruit staff for them, to recruit every conceivable sort of person, from servants to pilots to you name it. She also, by the way, admits that she would go to places where they give massage and see who were the good masseurs there. This is how she describes it. I'm taking this from her 2016 deposition. And then, of course, she said that she hired these people. And then over the course of her deposition, she changed her evidence and said she didn't actually hire them. Epstein did. All very strange, all very mysterious. But she was stonewalling in 2016. She was clearly employed by Epstein in some capacity. Why would a wealthy person be employed by someone like Epstein? Why would she act as a kind of glorified, office manager and housekeeper by Epstein if she was already very, very rich? So that begs the question, is that $20 million fortune that she has the result of her association with Epstein? I'm asking the question. I mean, we can come up with all kinds of guesses. I'm asking the question. And of course, if it's true that there are films of all of these things and she knows their whereabouts, why is she not coming up with that evidence to the prosecutors, when I would have thought that her best interests are to work with the prosecutors, provide all the evidence that she has, even if that means admitting to some of the charges, negotiating a reduced sentence, and coming forward as a witness. It suggests to me all of these steps, these repeated attempts to get bail, these repeated attempts to discredit the indictment on, I have to say, I mean, even in these times, these woke times, on a feeble basis, that the jury was too white. I mean, it wasn't demographically balanced enough. I mean, this is foolish stuff. Why is she doing this? And the only explanation I can come up with is that she's very frightened. I mean, she's frightened of remaining in prison. She's frightened of giving testimony against other people. She's doing everything she can to get out of prison. She's doing everything she can to avoid having to give evidence. And quite possibly, as you rightly say, she has some idea of finding a way out of the country. The very fact that she's talking about giving up her citizenships, her French and British citizenships, or at least her passports, in that way suggests to me again that she does have, in some shape or form, some way of absenting herself from the United States in her mind.
Yeah. She wants to escape. She's looking for perhaps her only way out of this thing alive, I guess. I don't know. That's the way it seems.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm going to give her some completely unsolicited advice. However frightened she is, she needs to cooperate, because she's going to end up in prison. And I suspect by not cooperating, she's going to put herself in more danger, if she is in danger, as she appears to believe she is, than she would if she didn't cooperate. So I think what she needs to do now is get all the evidence together, write it all down, get it signed and sealed, passed on to the prosecutors quickly, and see what deal she can do, which will both reduce her prison time and at the same time secure her safety to the extent that it can be secured. Because frankly, whatever happens, the course that she is embarked upon, it seems to me, is only going to keep her in prison for much longer, indeed almost certainly for the rest of her life, if she persists with it. And
but perhaps
the impression I got from her April 2016 deposition was a terrible one.
Yeah, but perhaps the only thing that's keeping her alive in prison,
and of
is,
course,
is the fact that she's not giving up people's names.
Well, that's right. But of course, you know what they say: dead people tell no tales. So, in a sense, holding back on that evidence, if she really does have those kind of concerns, then somebody may be saying to themselves, well, how long can we rely on her to keep silent? Maybe there are other ways we can keep her more silent. Just saying, that's a guess. I'm not saying this is true because I don't know. But I would have thought if she does have those fears, which all the indications are that she does, by the way, then the best thing for her to do still is to cooperate and to try and get whatever kind of deal she can with the government, which will try and protect her. I have to say this, she looks to be in a very difficult, again I'm speaking euphemistically, in a very difficult situation indeed, irrespective of what she does. But I would have thought the line that I'm suggesting is the one that carries the less risk.
Yeah, she seems to be in a very difficult position. I wonder if the final thought, I wonder if the change in government with the Biden administration helps her out. Is to her benefit. I don't want to say helps her out. It's to her benefit because the Trump administration really
indeed
went hard on the trafficking stuff and kind of rooting out these types of characters. So I wonder if the Biden administration is going to be a little easier to deal with. I don't know.
Well, possibly. So far, I have to say, there's not been much sign of that. But then, of course, it's only a new administration, and the Attorney General, Garland, has not, as I understand it, really been confirmed yet. So they're not fully in harness at the moment. So we don't quite know what's going to happen. By the way, she seems to be very keen to have everything transferred and tried in New York, or Manhattan, which I find interesting in itself. So we'll see what agenda exactly she's pushing. But we'll see. There's lots of unanswered questions, but the deposition that she gave in 2016 is damning, in my opinion, not so much because of what it reveals, but precisely in a way because of the way she stonewalls and the way that she and her lawyer don't just stonewall, but do so in a remarkably aggressive way. And she comes across as very manipulative and evasive throughout it.
All right. We'll leave it there. Alexander Curse, thank you very much, guys. Look for us on Rumble and on BitChute and on Odyssey. Those links are down below. Look for Alexander's channel down below. Look for my channel link down below. Look for the call-in show, our new channel link down below as well. PayPal, Patreon, Subscribe, Star, and Bitcoin as well. Litecoin, Bitcoin, Monero, all of that stuff. You'll find that down below as well. That really helps out this channel a lot. And of course, go to the Durad Shop. Pick up some merch. That is the best thing you can do to help out this channel. Pick up a hoodie, sweatshirt, magic mug, all kinds of great stuff.
Absolutely. And you can help yourself because the merchandise in our shop is absolutely superb quality. The feedback we get on it is enthusiastic. You find brilliant magic mugs there, the best magic mugs in the world. You find amazing t-shirts, sweatshirts, hats and hoodies, and they're all there, all for you, and you support the Duran also when you go there, as Alex just said. So come to our shop, support us on our other platforms, support us, as Alex said, through PayPal, Subscribestar and PayPal, and via all the various currencies, and we look forward to you joining us in our next program.
All right, take care, everybody.